Hi there, guys. As I was writing about in the blog, I was thinking about doing some update on using my video cam or the camcorder. This is out on my balcony. It's for Swedish terms, it's pretty hot summer day. A lot of steam in the air and basically being awfully hot. And I was writing on the blog, the last part was on the unconscious loop. What I mean by that is that people are aware of what's in the end of the loop and what's existing for the loop to be there in the first place. People are not that aware. So what I'm trying to tell people is that if you're inside the reality, you're inside the context. And since you're inside the context, that's what it is. And as soon as you try to get out of the context, that's why the RBM, when you do this hand movement, I mean, I can do this the whole day, nothing's going to happen. But if you focus in a specific way and elicit the distinction, you will have access to the vestibular system. And when you have access to that system, you have a reference system inside your body. And this system that you have a reference for, when you do it, you can't fake that. You can't trying to do that, if you like. You have to do it or don't. Because sometimes when people do the drill, they're not focused and they don't have 100% attention, so then it doesn't work. This is the loop people are inside, and they're trying to elicit the response. In each step, if I focus on my hand, for example, and then I move it like this, right? Not much going to happen. But if I move to sense what's going on inside the muscles and the movement I do. Now, you see this movement in Tai Chi, for example, when you move the arms and they move the body in specific ways and try to do the slow movements, stuff like that. Now, when you try to do that, if you do Tai Chi, relaxation, and it's also energizing at the same time, because what you're doing is you're accessing that kind of system. So you're moving inside the reference system, the vestibular system. Anyway, so you're inside the context of reality. Now, since you're inside that, you want to get to the next context, which in the future, obviously, because if I do this thing in the future, when I had my experience, I was setting that up for my golf the other day, and my first 10 holes I played +1. I made a 3-putt on 30, and that was my only, what you could say, mistake. But for 10 holes I played pretty much the best game I could play. What happens then, since the heat and the golf course is pretty taxing physically, my body couldn't keep up. So, but I'm pretty confident that I will be able to play like that, and even better in the coming days. Now, since you're inside your contextual reality and you're moving to the next context in the future, something must happen during that progression or whatever it is. So when you're focusing your attention on this, you're obviously going to keep the comparison mode at bay, so you're going to have to be focused. And when you elicit that, sooner or later you're going to elicit when you feel inside the system that this is the one singular moment. So you have access to the system. And when you have this kind of access, all you need to have to do basically is to have the attention there. But most people are not aware of where they have their attention. So what happens then? Well, they lose it. And this is why I try to, especially in the workshop, teach people to connect this with the external context in the future. So if you have the future context, and this is the context you're inside that, you think about the future context you have, when the future context already happened. So you have had this has already been going on. You list that, and you come from a vestibular access. You can have that kind of access reference point inside your, whatever you call it, consciousness or perception. You understand this if you do the vestibular access first. If you do the RBIM drill, if you do that first, you have a clean access to the vestibular system. You then can access the future experience, the future context, with basically going directly there. You don't have to list it with using language and symbols and all that stuff. But when you do this, obviously, since you need to do this, your body is going to shift along the way, because the conscious state you're in right now, or the experience you have right now, is obviously different from the one when you have already been doing whatever you did in the future when it just worked. So when I played golf, for example, the other day, when I was played 18 holes and I did my best game. That's the only reference point. So when I'm setting up that, I've only played 18 holes. I have my best ability to play, and that reference for me is an internal sensation, obviously, and I just kept track of that. So every hole and every time I was walking, I checked do I still have my experience, do I still have my attention in the same place, and since I was having that, I just kept doing that. So I was playing a very easy game. What happens when my body doesn't work, since my illness is this, it is that my coordination and motoric control is just out of the window, and that's one way of speaking about my representation or visual system. It doesn't work when my body, but that's how it is. So I'm still working with ways. And sometimes people, what do you do with this? Well, every morning when I wake up, I check my internal sensations in the internal body, and if it doesn't fit in the way I want it to be, I make an adjustment and put my attention, and then I wait until my body produces that kind of experience I want to have. That's what I've been doing with that. So if you're inside the unconscious loop, you're only aware of what's on the end of it. So you're coming basically within this kind of contextual reality. So you're inside it, you try to focus on this whatever experience, but you can't get to the experience because you're blocking yourself out all the time. And that's why you're doing this kind of drill. So you're producing the experience of accessing the vestibular system. When you have that access, then it's pretty much an easier or effortless task to experience the future context, because you're using the different brain system. And the idea what we're working with here is to balance those out, so you can do both at the same time. So you're aware of the experience you're having while you're having it, or as you're doing it. I think that's it for now. It's still hot. It's about 8 o'clock here, 8 p.m. here, and it's probably going to rain this evening, but the weather is great. And I'm not sure if I'm making sense here, because if you're inside your contextual reality, this is how reality is for you. This is how we perceive it, and we don't think about it much different because we're in. But if you do the drill, you're going to access a different experience, because you're going to produce intention. That's what we want here. We want to produce intention. And when you have intention, then you use faith to gain the future experience that you want. And I will write something about that in the future, write in the blogs, and I will also be, since it started raining here, I had to end the video, but the PDF is coming, and the video with this quality is coming also. Later, have fun, guys and girls.